Hello, everybody. We back. Here breaking the mental chain. Um, it's gonna be a good show tonight. It's a lot going on, and whenever there's a lot going on, um, we got to talk about it. Um, we're gonna try to connect those dots as we do every night on breaking the mental chain. We're gonna try to get your minds to see what's how things are moving and how they affect you as being ADOS. And know that ADOS stands for American Descendants of Slavery. Um, we see they got the police that killed George Floyd. He got uh he got 22 years. Um, One thing for a fact, we don't know how much time he'll serve off that. I kind of feel like once they feel we have forgotten no different they did with the other police officers, they'll probably slide them on out. We'll keep, but we'll keep an eye on it. Um, he did get time though, so that's one thing that's a little different. But it's a lot of other moving parts that's not so different. It's a lot of other moving parts that's out the ADOS people head, the American descendant of slavery. We are the target because we are the group that's owed a debt. And that's bottom line. Don't sit and tell yourself you are the target due to the fact that we are so smart and so we can outdo them. We definitely can outdo them, but know this: in order to outdo them, you got to outsmart them. So here, what we are trying to do is educate our people on how to become critical thinkers, to outsmart these people, to see things through the eyes of politics. And in order to see the truth, you got to see it through these policies. Because at the end of the day, no different than Yvette Cornell has said plenty of times, your government picks the winners and losers. Plain and simple. The government picks the winners and losers. Um, you if we could understand this, we can move forward. We can make headway. Without understanding this, all is lost. If you want to change the way politics is working, you must be at that table. Without being at that table, I know there's plenty of our people that don't want to be involved with politics. But no, indeed, politics is where the decision making is at. If you're not there, that means if you ain't, it's almost like being at the dinner table. Someone said the other night, it's like being at the dinner table. If you're not at the dinner table, you are the one being served on the platter. So you got to be at the table so you ain't the one being served on the platter. No matter how much you dislike politics, what has hindered us in this country from hundreds of years ago to the present time is just having a black face at the table, but still not being represented at the table. ADOS is here to change that. We want to be represented at that table. And if you can't represent us at that table, we don't want you at the table. So we're going to remove you from the table and replace you with somebody that can represent us, our Pacific lineage, at that table. I had a pretty long weekend. So we're gonna try to rock this show regardless. Cause all warriors stand up in any time. We must be able to stand up at any time. When the bomb drops, you gotta be ready to battle. So here I try to stay ready to battle. Um the we gonna talk about today are gonna be some of our topics are gonna be just like in the chat, someone said, but when we have the CBC, and that's that's really funny because they don't represent us. If you go online and even look up who they represent, it's a very small percentage of us. It's like they represent white women, immigrants more than they do black people. So once again, we are not being represented at the table. So that's why ADOS is here, so we can have representation. so we can have a real voice at that table. And that's why we do these shows, because we need you to know what that voice looked like at that table, and how that voice is to sound when it speaks for the American descendant of slavery. And we use this term because this is a Pacific group with a Pacific justice claim. And understand, you never want to be grouped in with everybody, because once they group you in with everybody, it becomes a melting pot, and you get lost in the seasoning in that melting pot. It becomes hard to taste who you are. So we want to carve ourselves out. We don't want to be in the melting pot, because we are a Pacific group with a Pacific history. We built this nation. Immigrants didn't build this nation. Slaves built this nation. Convict leasing built this nation. And we must tie our lineage to who we are. So yeah, we're gonna have a lot. We're gonna talk tonight about entrepreneurship. What it really looks like when we use this term entrepreneurship. Because there's a lot of entrepreneurs, and we got a lot of black people saying I'm an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. It's a lot of groups moving this way. We got a lot of LLCs moving this way, saying this will bring us out of the situation we in. We got to do it ourselves. Well, I hate to tell you that you ain't the first one that thought that way. They thought like that before you too. So don't think you thought of a new idea. And what happened to them without government protection, without policies, they got bombed on. They got roads built through right here in Winston-Salem, Highway 52, built right through all the black businesses, tuck them out. So, when they build those roads through businesses, a lot of time they take black people businesses out. Or they build a road that takes the traffic away from the black businesses, and that starves them out. So once again, you got to be at that table, because zoning can hurt you. The way they zone things can hurt your business. I hate to tell all you entrepreneurs that think you ain't going to be involved in politics, you have no way to escape being involved with politics, because you need to be at the table when they start talking about zoning. Also, for all black businesses that want black dollars, you need to represent black people, ADOS people, when you at that table. When you at that table, and you saying to yourself, I need black dollars. Understand, if your group is economically collapsed, you go behind it. I talked with a guy, he was a barber this week when he cut my hair. Me and him got to talking. He was from New York, but when I told him about how group uplift should look when it come to financial group uplift, you need a group when you got a business. Without your group, your business gets starved out. The gentleman admitted that he witnessed where blacks got pushed out of the community and their barbershop collapsed right behind it. See, what we got to come to terms with, we got to understand, immigrants ain't coming over there to help us. Immigrants are coming over here to step on us. I don't care what your black leadership tells you. All the data, all the outcomes where these immigrants move in shows they're not coming here to work with you. They coming here to step on you. So we must be the critical thinkers, because it's crunch time. And when it's crunch time, you got to get serious. We got to get serious about the conversation. We can't have a conversation without looking at the facts. This emotional conversation is not going to fix it. Throw your emotion to the side, dig into the facts. That's what we do here. Throw emotion to the side, dig into the facts, the data, our lineage, the history, to bring forth facts. We don't move by emotion. No matter how passionate you hear me speak here tonight, all of it is supported by data, lineage, history, policies, all of it. So I always like to point that out, because it's a difference in the conversation versus people just speaking from their emotion. So we're gonna touch on the immigration, and we're gonna talk about New America. New America has been around 6 years. Obama put this thing in effect for immigrants. So that's why the name of my show tonight, New America Without ADOS. It's time to see the truth. These people are trying to erase ADOS, American Descendants of Slavery, Native Blacks. They trying to remove what they have done to you by not talking about it, by pushing against critical race theory. All of these things is a target towards black people, the American descendant of slavery. And I know some of you out there may still be struggling with this term, being an American descendant of slavery. But I challenge you to go back in your family tree, and I will put my life on it. If you are ADOS, if you not, so be it. Move along. If you are ADOS, you dig back into your family tree, you're going to run into sharecroppers and slaves. It's no escaping this. If you're not ADOS and you here and you're a real ally, more power to you. We glad to have you here because we need allies to understand the uniqueness, what we have gave to this country. Bottom line, um, yeah, and just like that's what immigrants are looking at. They basically looking at becoming white. They want to be made white. Bottom line, they have nothing to gain from being made ADOS unless they can use you somehow in the rap culture by cloaking themselves in our lived experience. And a lot of them do that a lot of times because we so much more accepting of other people versus our own people. We got to change this mindset. All groups got good and bad. All groups got mental problems and a whole nine yards. Your group ain't no different. Just one difference. Your group has took all the hell that America has thrown on them. So if you have any sympathy, you should have more sympathy for your group than outsiders. So never forget that. Your group has endured a lot. Some of us are stronger than others. Some of us has broken already, and you got to understand it. You see a brother on the side of the road, he doing karate with himself. The brother has broken. This country has broken him. Don't see him as weak. Know that we all, our strengths are different. It's difference in all of our strength. Some of us stronger in certain areas versus others. Just how it is. Just called being human. So we're gonna talk about the entrepreneur and talk about immigrants. Here's some things I want to show you because I keep hearing about people keep talking about this investing. This is how you build generational wealth. Well, I'm here to tell you that ain't how white people built their generational wealth. They built it off the backs of ADOS people. That's how they built it. They built it off locking you out of this country financially and locking themselves in financially. So we're gonna start with an article from the New America, and Obama started this. I'm gonna share my screen with you. Let's see, give me just a minute. We're gonna go up here, share the screen here. It won't let me share this article. So I'll read from the article. So this New America was started in 2014. This basically is let me try this again. Maybe to do it. Maybe I did something wrong. Hold on. Normally it shares these things. Okay, there it is. So this here's the article here. This article is basically welcoming immigrants and refuge from around the world. And as you see, it's Obama at it again. Once again, we got the main guy that ADOS keeps saying, this guy was a problem. This guy was a piece on the chessboard. And he played a very manipulative role. Him and his wife. They was in on brain manipulating us together. Both of them was. So once we know and understand that these people work together to lead us in the wrong direction, we must come to terms with it and accept it. Because know that he had 2 terms in office. and in them 2 terms did nothing to make ADOS people whole. Matter of fact, he gave reparations to other groups instead of the group that was owed the debt. And now this is gonna be nailing and coffin, cause this thing has been going on for 6 years now. They building these new American sites all over the countries for immigrants and refugees. Know what that means to us as a group. If our government is building things to specifically help immigrants get ahead in America, while at the same time denying us, ADOS, American descendants of slavery, access to America, and we are the group owed the debt. We are the group that built the country. See, we got to know and understand what this means if they're going to move this way. That means our new oppressors will be people with pigment in their skin, but they also will be made white in America. That's what's really happening. So I challenge all of you to go look out in California how the geographic has changed and how the immigrants out there have pushed ADOS people out of their community. Where Skid Row is, how many people on Skid Row is ADOS? They don't come here to work with you. I don't care what your black leadership tells you. That ain't what they're here for. Know and understand, if a group of people have ran and left their grandmother, their grandmother, their mamas, their daddy, their nieces and nephews behind to come here, if they left their family behind to come here, what makes you think your black leadership is telling you the truth that they came here to work with you? They left their family. And I'm going to tell you right now, hey, I've been in plenty of fights. If I was in a fight, you ran on me, how do then I turn around and say, hey, that's my man, he going to help me out? No, you're a runner. That's what immigrants are. We, as ADOS, we have to stand flat-footed in our country and fight to make things better for us. They are running from a country to come over here and step on you. You see? Don't ever believe black leadership when they scream out immigrants are coming here to help you. They ain't telling you the truth. So we see in the article the basic idea of welcoming immigrants to our shores is central to our way of life. It is in our DNA. We believe in our diversity, our differences. When joined together by a common set of ideals, make us stronger, make us more creative, make us different from all different strands. We make something new in America. Now, this is Obama making these statements. Now, what we got to come to understand here is when you start to look at this thing, making something different, how do you make something different when you still haven't made a group whole? You haven't fixed a group that you worked for over 250 years free, and now you progress to bring in another group and give them access while still denying us access to this country we built, we bled for. And see, I pointed this out to one of the members at the Triangle ADOS. This program is a major problem. When you talking about them doing things to give these people up, basically giving them up mobility to be up and denying us up mobility, but giving it to them. That means your kids, your nieces, your nephew, everybody comes in direct competition with them. Now, no one understand what your child or your niece or your nephew gonna be dependent on. They're gonna be dependent on access that you can give them. And I'm gonna get to that later. Remember what I said. Your kids, your nieces and nephews are gonna be dependent on access that you can give them. Now know that when a lot of times in the black group, too many of us are sitting around and talking about, I'm good, I don't need nothing, I'm good. Now no one understand this. When you saying you good, do you got the ability to give your kids $250,000? Because know and understand, they say, in order for your child to be able to really access America, one of your kids, just man, just one, you need to be able to invest $250,000 in them, not a house, not a car, but directly into your child. And understand that $250,000 still gives a white child better access to opportunity than an ADOS child. So meaning, even if an ADOS parent has $250,000 that they can invest in their child is still more likely not to be successful as a white child, because at the end of the day, that ADOS child will still be sitting in an office in front of a white male or a white woman trying to apply for a job. See, we dealing with a double-edged sword, and we don't know how that double-edged sword look. We thinking if we send our kids to college, that when they get out of college, they're going to somehow attain access. No, white supremacy will just be sitting there waiting for them. See, we must understand these things. Without understanding, it's about outlets and plugs. Outlets and plugs. You can't have one without the other. Plain and simple. This is plain and simple thinking. Nothing complicated. So if the government is doing things specific for immigrants, see, as you see, on November the 21st, 2014, the president established the White House Task Force on New America, a government-wide effort tasked with the better integrating immigrants and refugees into American community. Want to get more details about the task force recommendation? Read the strategies. Now understand, if you come down here to this chart, this chart is now these dark blue dots are supposed to be all the locations where this is at. So know and understand, right? If this chart is where all these locations are at right now in 2021, look what it says. White House Task Force on New America, supporting integration, building welcoming community, cities, and countries. Countries. Now, how do a country start to make people outside of the country more citizenship than the people within the country that built the country? These charts are a problem. When your kids, as somebody said in the chat here, Johnny said in the chat, why do our people look at immigration as needing help and look at each other as screwed up if we are black successful? That's, man, it's why are we constantly viewing our own group so negative? Why? We've been wired that way from slavery. We've been wired to see each other this way since slavery. That's why it's a problem. That's why it's a major problem. And in order to fix this problem, we must first be able to see it. So if your government, and I keep saying the government, because as Yvette Cornell has said many a times, the government picks the winners and losers. Plain, it ain't nothing. Listen, it ain't nobody on this chat tonight that's going to be stronger than the United States government by themselves. Period. It's going to take a group, and it's going to take your group. So you're going to have to start working more politically with your group for things that benefit your group. Not running around fighting for other people. Because that's why ADOS say we done being the mule. If you're done being the mule, you got to fight for your group now. Be the mule for your people. Because being the mule for your people make the future better for your kids. Not when you go fight for other people. That ain't how you make the future better for your kids. I don't care what your black leadership say. I don't care what black celebrities tell you. This is why we are losing. We are being bamboozled and duped by people that we idolize. These celebrities, these black politicians, that they may be ADOS, but they sold you out a long time ago. They basically the house Negro now. They in the bosoms of the white man. in the bosom of the white one. And that's who they going to try to protect their interests and come back and tell you something else. ADOS is saying, look at this information. Help fight to better it for your kids and for yourself. These dark blue charts, like I said, is some of the areas where these places are already. They got 2 of these places in North Carolina right now. Nobody ain't talking about this. But ADOS, you make New America by wiping out the refuge of the old. That's right. As Brian has said, this is how you do it. You get rid of one group, you erase another group, and usher in a new group. That's the only way they can do it. So if they, in 6 years, look at all these places they done built. Joe Biden in there right now, the gate is open and they flooding the country. As the data has shown, and I always bring forth the data show the more immigrants come in the country, the more ADOS men, black men lose jobs, go to prison. ADOS women, same thing. So stop thinking that if they bring more people in the country, that means there's more job opportunity. No, that is not what it means. That means replacement is happening. If your government did, and some of the things in this article say they got policy that says they're going to automatically hire these immigrants on these jobs. And another thing we need to stop thinking about is that when these immigrants come here, that they just taking the low wages jobs that people don't want. That's another thing we getting wrong. That is not what's happening. I'm telling you, they come in here taking engineering jobs. They come in here taking doctor jobs. They come in here taking nursing jobs. They taking all jobs. So if the government is giving their kids money to get through college, and you an ADOS person that's struggling to get through college financially, and the government supporting this immigrant child, ain't you gonna lose against him? If your money run out, his ain't gonna run out. Because they got policies in place for him, but they have none in place for your kids. See? So we must start to see things for the truth. This I advise you to go look this information up. You can read it for yourself. I'm just scanning through it to bring it to your attention that they building things for these immigrants and not for you. So if you running around here trying to work with these immigrants while the government got policies that help them that don't help you, just know you supporting your own demise. Bottom line, like it or not. As Brian said, unfortunately, the main assets attained through higher education for us is in debt. Exactly. Very good point, Brian. The data shows 16% of ADOS can go to college. Out of the 16, 80% can't find jobs. The data shows black women have more degrees in the country than anybody, but they also have more debt than anybody. And they also make less money with a degree than anybody in the country. That's the data. That's the data. So we see a constant, I call it a straight manipulation, constantly to the ADOS group. Constantly using us, manipulating us, telling us 1 minute go take kid to go to college. Next minute you got all this debt on your back. Oh, we can't do nothing about it. You see? All of these games while these people get pure access to the country. That's a problem. If they getting access and we being manipulated and played, who gonna eat the failure? ADOS people gonna eat the failure again. And then what happens is in the household, you start to blame the child. The truth is it's your fault. You ain't did the work. You ain't done the work to make sure your child had access. You more than likely you were doing the work to make sure some immigrant kid had access. Not understanding that immigrant child was in direct competition with your child. So I guess it's the main question at hand is, are you willing to stand up for your child now and stop fighting for everybody else's? And maybe you need to sit in the mirror and ask yourself that. See, because I can tell you straight up who I'm fighting for. I'm fighting for my kids. My kids, my group over everybody. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. I ain't ashamed of it. I ain't ashamed of it one damn bit. And I ain't got a reason to be ashamed of it. Because nobody else is fighting for my people. Nobody else is fighting for my kids. So why would I be out there fighting for an immigrant child when my child can be killed in the street? My child is going to be the one denied job opportunity. It makes no sense. It makes no sense, people. It's time to wake up. It's time for us to see this thing through truth. It's time to understand who an enemy is. As right here in the chat, they all in it together to enrich themselves. Listen, understand another thing about immigration too, that I think we don't really understand. An immigrant can be just as white as a regular white man. They can still be immigrants. That's how they getting all these policies, because you got white immigrants too. I know a lot of times we get stuck on the Mexicans, the Cubans, the Puerto Ricans, the Guatemala, people with pigment in their skin, because that's what your black leadership is constantly pointing out to you, that they brown like you. But no, they can be as white as regular white people. An immigrant is anybody that immigrates to this country. It ain't just Mexican. So you have whites coming in this country too that are immigrants. And they being made white right in your presence. They get opportunity that you don't get. So we gotta remember that too. It ain't just a lot of time, because the manipulation works when they try to make you just focus on. Whenever the leadership start telling you just to look at this, oh, people against Hispanic, they're against the Mexicans. No, remember, white people come in this country too as immigrants from European countries. Sometimes even from the continent of Africa. Even from the country of Nigeria. Even from the country of Trinidad. White people come from them countries too as immigrants to this country. So this is what I mean by seeing the truth. You start to see how things are moving. That's why it's simple. Hey, as Johnny says, ADOS over everybody. Because if we don't make it about specifically us, it'll be ADOS fighting everybody. You won't only just be fighting white supremacy. You'll be dealing with immigrants too that's going to team up against you. And I think it's time we have a serious conversation with black leadership. You got the NAWCP if you go on their website, mostly what they talking about is immigrants. So they basically telling you, I'm done with you. We gonna fight for immigrants. So if you're supposedly be black leadership is done turn their back on you, it's time for the grassroots to rise up and say, we are done listening to you. We now speak for ourselves. That is why ADOS is here. We are the grassroots, and we are saying we speak for ourselves. No damn longer will we sit and let these black leaders tell us how we need to be moving. We're going to tell them how we want to move, whether they like it or not. Many of them also come from countries that are anti-black. This is, hey, Brian, you spot on. White supremacy ingrained in them already on arrival. See, that's another thing we don't understand. They coming from these different countries where they already baked into this white supremacy way of thinking. So you in trouble when that's happening. You don't understand their culture, what they come from. You just going off what the TV telling you to expect. And when you around them because they laughing a whole lot and you think they conversate with you, once again, that's an emotion. Throw the emotion to the side. I'm sorry. You being manipulated by. You know what's so that bothers me so much? As ADOS black people in this country, we can always find the bad in our own group, but we see the good in everybody else. Think about what I just said. We can always find the bad in one another, but Every other group, whether it be a Nigerian, whether it be a Hispanic, a Mexican, a Cuban, or somebody from Britain, we see the good in them. We don't even see them as being a snake. That's what makes them being a snake even more easier, because you're so accepting of them. So we got to get out of that nature too. We done too much of being open arms to everybody. It's time to stop that and be open arms towards just your people. Accept they good and bad. Try to educate them like what I'm doing with this platform. I'm trying to reach my people and educate them. I'm trying to get you to think, to see how the plot is thickening against you specifically, and how everybody else is gonna end up on your back. So when you get a chance, this is some of the, see right here, participating cities and countries that they dealing with on this thing right here. So they made their mind up. They gonna deal with these people on this deal, and these are some of the places they dealing with. This thing is big. We must get in front of it's. This is definitely an uphill battle. That's why we're having these shows, and we want people involved. We need you involved. Our very existence is on the line here. If we don't realize it, we're gonna be crushed by this. So this is the New America. You can pull this up. It's called the New America Project. It's the White House. Say the New America Project, the White House. And it's basically a task force that they done been working on. They got things set up for over the last 6 years. People need to get on this. A lot of our people don't know our history in the U.S. and damn sure don't understand the history of racial politics in other countries. This is the truth, and we must get better about it. As we start to see immigration as a threat, that's why a lot of times people try to attack ADOS, because when ADOS, a lot of times I conversation, people say, y'all sound like white folks. No, we sound like a group that built this country and made all of this possible. And understand, when you make everything possible, you supposed to reap the benefit of it, not the other way around. Not with somebody else reap the benefit. You supposed to reap the benefit. That's really how it go. Like you said, Poking Ray, the rep of our community. That's another thing. They do a lot of disrespecting us, as Obama did this. Disrespecting us, talking about Pokey and Ray. See, that's disrespectful when you try to make up these names and make us appear to be lazy. We built this nation. So now how you get to poke fun at us about being lazy? When it ain't being lazy, it's being tired from not being able to have upward mobility. We work our butts off and still can barely pay our bills, can barely put gas in the car that you telling me to drive to your job and do my work, and I can barely put gas in the vehicle to get there. How long before a person say, you know what, damn that job? And I don't blame them. If I can't eat off the job, why do I need the job? See, we are allowing these people to shame us because we don't know the data. You need to know the data so you can understand why people are moving like they moving. So if we know the data, we'll know how to move. We'll know how to think. We'll know how to see it for what it is. So yes, you can go look this article up on that. Like I said, the American Project. Obama started this when he was in office. Providing benefits to wealthy immigrants and not providing us with anything. This is true. So all these programs, understand when your black leadership try to tell you, and Joe Biden came out and said this was Joe Biden's words. Black people, y'all need to get with Hispanics. Understand when you walk in one of these offices, when one of these is two in North Carolina, if you walked in one of these offices and said, listen, what kind of benefits you got for me? They're going to say, we don't have any benefits for you. Why? You're not an immigrant. So how do you turn around and think you are an immigrant? If you can't benefit from the policies that they benefit from, that means you're not one. So stop telling or thinking you are. You are ADOS. You are American descendant of slavery. You are the native black, born and bred in this country. Like it or not, like it or not, that's who you are. Stop running away from the country that you built, your ancestors' bones and blood built. Stand here and fight for what is owed to you. Stop running. Stop running. I'm getting tired of hearing my people talking about going back to a motherland that ain't theirs, where they call you white. Black as I am, they are calling me a white man on the continent of Africa. They know we are not them. And it's okay. It's okay. Because I am not they. And they are not me. And that's fine. We are our own unique group. And it's time to own that. It's time to own it. Because if we can't own it, we'll get wiped out by it. Because this is what this plot is with this new America. It's to wipe us out. Keep playing. Keep not paying attention how your barbershops get pushed to the side. How black businesses used to be there, and all Hispanics there. And you think it's because they smarter than you. It's because of policies like this that's in effect to get rid of you, ADOS. That's what it is. So we got to get smart about how we're moving. Now, this I talked on the immigrant. Now what I'm going to share with you is this theory on being entrepreneurs and how being an entrepreneur can pull us out of what we're dealing with. Well, one thing I want to start this section off with is know and understand, right? If we telling ourselves we are entrepreneurs. Matter of fact, I read an article, they said during the pandemic, a lot of black businesses got started because of government money. But I promise you 2 or 3 years from now, those black businesses will be gone because most of them ain't even businesses. Believe that. Know and understand that when we look at our group for what it is, we don't have a Bill Gates in our group, in the ADOS group, the American descendant of slavery. We don't have a Jeff Bezos in our group. Meaning when you go to the top of our group, because I know y'all like to talk about the Jay-Z's, the Beyoncé's and all this, and the P. Diddy's and the Mayweathers, but they ain't Bill Gates. They ain't Warren Buffett. See, the truth is they take checks from white men like these men. If I write you the check to do the job, that means you just work for me, so that means I got more money than you, basically. So we need to understand, we don't produce one single car in America. A black man or woman don't have one production line that builds cars that are made by ADOS black people in this country. Know what that's telling you. You're not built into the infrastructure of this country. You've been locked out. And instead of your celebrities coming and telling you you've been locked out, your celebrities are telling you you can do anything, selling you on hope. And hope don't get you nothing. It's when you do the work, you receive something. It's when you fight differently to make something different happen. See? So we must understand these things. So right now I'm going to share with you an article because I keep hearing a lot of my people talking about cryptocurrency. People want to invest in this cryptocurrency, digital Bitcoin, all this is going on. Well, what I wanted to do tonight was to show my people when we talk about entrepreneurs, when we talk about investments, that a lot of the people you trying to idolize or trying to find yourself trying to mimic didn't do what you having to do. They didn't even store it out like you trying to store it out. See, I tell people, always think about the game of Monopoly. One of the first things you do if you don't know the rules is you give everybody $1,500 to start the game with. That's the first thing you do in Monopoly. In real time, as American descendants of slavery, they never gave us our money to play this game with. That they still owe us the debt. They still owe us the debt. They never gave us our money to be made whole. You see? So we never got to play the game. We've been locked out of the game. And when you understand the Monopoly, when you don't have money, what ends up and happen to you, when you don't own property, when you don't own anything on Monopoly, where you always end up at? In jail. In jail. How is it that we play a game and don't understand that game is real life? The person on the board that owns a lot of property don't go to jail as much. Ain't that something? Ain't that something? Black business store to be whole by PPE loan being offered during COVID could be wrong though. See, we must come to the concept of what is happening and how things are moving around us financially. If we don't understand that, we start to see and do things wrong. Hey, carve out land so that we'll have some dirt to stand on. This is true what L. Will is saying. We must get like minds, what L. Will is saying. We got to get like minds. And ADOS is a group that has a lot of like minds that understand the severity of carving yourself out. And what he's saying, when we carve ourselves out, we need some land that we'll be able to stand on, that where we can probably have a stronghold. Because what is coming for us, we're going to have to endure. Know and understand some of us would be in better places than others. But this is going to definitely hinder and smash our group because we're fighting wrong. We keep trying to go in the wrong way with all the warning signs saying this is the only way to go. And that way is reparations, a black agenda. And we must put pressure on these people to give us what we are owed. Remember, Yvette Cornell said it. Politicians don't respond to applause. They respond to pressure. So when you clapping, when you see Obama, and I just showed you, he's setting up to wipe you out, and you still clapping for him, you are the problem. It ain't me telling you why would you clap for a man that hasn't done nothing but try to figure a way to wipe your existence out. You the problem. You the problem. Because you can't prove to me what I'm telling you he didn't do. He didn't do nothing for you. You can't even prove me wrong on it. But I can prove me right because I just showed you. He started this task force for immigration. And I just gave you the data. More black men go to prison, more black women lose their jobs, the more immigrants come in the country. So why are you clapping when you see Obama? So we're going to go into this entrepreneur because I got to go into it because a lot of you thinking that's going to save you. Like I said, if your group is socially collapsed, you going behind it, and so will your business. If your politics don't align with your group to get redistribution of wealth that they owe, your business will starve too. Because know and understand, these white people and these Hispanics is not coming in that business to keep your business propped up. They're not going to do that. 90% of your group come in there and keep your business running, like it or not. When things go sideways, you can park your car. You can put a tiny home, shed, a tent. Now you're not trespassing. That's right. If you got that little piece of land, you can do that. With what they doing with this new America, you're going to need this little piece of land. So we may need to get at the table and put our heads together, how to stretch up some dirt together. Because this is going to get ugly. And I'm going to show you why we got to get away from this myth about black business. Because we don't understand how a lot of these people want to call entrepreneurs even started. So I'm going to share this screen with you. Give me just a minute right there. Might not do it at first. I'll do it again if it don't. Hold on, let me try it again. Never want to do it the first time. Entrepreneurs. Okay, there it is. All right. This article, as you see, entrepreneurs are great, but it's mom and dad who gave them their start. See? It's mom and dad who gave them their start. So, as we look at this article here, you see who we got here. See, a recent study shows family money background plays a critical role for startup and can be one of the primary source of funding. So we want to talk about Mark Zuckerberg. He owned Facebook. He took a loan of $100,000 from his father to start Facebook. How many ADOS out there that can get $100,000 from their dad or mom or both put together? See, we got to talk about it. See, a lot of us want to tell ourselves these people got started because they made a smart investment. This article is telling you that ain't what happened. See, because Zuckerberg come from the slave owners and he was made white in America. And I, William Dickens, come from the slaves and I never been made whole in America. I've been stuck with the eating the failure of America. And so was my dad and so was my mother. But not him because he comes from the slave owners. See, it's simple when you start to realize it. If you come from the slave owner, people in your family got that $100,000 they can give you. And as one of the people say in the comment here about the sofa Sephora boomers love Obama because he represents all the symbolism there exists in the base on. His success justifies their existence. That's true. When I'm thinking about this article right now, and we talk about all these entrepreneurs here, and we don't understand these people come from money, is how they get started. You come from sharecroppers and slaves. You don't come from money. So much of that self-made millionaire, billionaire theory. That's it. Hey, exactly. See, because you see this article right here. This article is telling you what do Bill, Jeff Bezos, and Elon Musk really have in common? Sure, they all are tech billionaires, super smart people, successful entrepreneurs, but they're another thing they all had families. They all had families who helped them at the very beginning. They have families that helped them at the very beginning. What is that telling you? See, when you come from the slave owners, that wealth that slavery built is still encased in your families. So stop looking at these people as if they ain't direct beneficiaries of your indirect benefit. They are. Always will be. See? Because money do not go to dead bodies. Money stay here for the living. because we as ADOS, a lot of us don't get inheritance. We forget about inheritance. Most of the time, though, when somebody that's ADOS parent die because they come from descendants of slaves, they get the burden of the debt to bury them. While whites that come from the slave owners get the beneficiary of being rocketed to the moon with wealth. See, we got to talk about this inheritance. We don't talk about it enough. We don't understand when Bill Gates dies, his kids are going to rocket to the top and so on down the chain. See, it ain't just Bill, because we don't understand how many white people are eating in restaurants with you that are millionaires. They sitting right around you. They driving the same kind of cars you drive. They millionaires. When they die, their child is going to rocket to the top. Your child is going to be pinned on this bottom. Your child will work for them, no matter how smart they are. If they ain't smart enough to understand a simple concept, big bank take little bank, they ain't smart enough. See, because white baby boomers, their kids are going to inherit it. $68 trillion. How much money you think these ADOS kids going to inherit when these baby boomers die? A lot of them going to pick up debt that they didn't even know was there. Because another thing in the ADOS household, finances ain't talked about openly. It's talked about in secret. Because people are doing things with that money that ain't gonna benefit their heirs when they die. But they think it is. But when they die, they found out another whole story. See, when they tell you Jeff and Elon Musk and Bill Gates got one thing all of them got in common, they had parents with a lot of money. And if you look them up, you'll also find out all of their family benefited from slave owners. See how the apple don't fall too far from the tree? See how you want to tell yourself that the next generation of white folks will be different than the generation before? That won't never happen. See, James Baldwin was hopeful that would happen. A lot of our black leadership was hopeful that the young would be different than their elders. They not. They are the direct beneficiaries of them. So that's why white supremacy still remain king in America. It ain't that a white man walking around 400 years old, because it ain't. It ain't that a white woman walking around 400 years old, because it ain't. It's their heirs that walking around that picked up from where they dropped the torch. They picked the torch up and continue with it. Stop telling yourself something different. Stop thinking because they'll talk to you, because they'll shake your hand, because they give you a compliment, because they tell you smarter than most black, that they ain't racist. Or even they go to bed with you. They ain't racist. They went to bed with your ancestors. Don't forget it. They took it too. Don't forget it. You ain't nothing unique. They treating you the same as they did your ancestors. Raw land with trees, uncleared, is a weekend project with power saws, a campsite, weekend vacation for family. ADOS just might have to sell one of their 4 cars in the yard with only 2 drivers. What L. Will is saying here, because we're not allowed access, we can get a car. That's why we put so much in cars that is ridiculous. That car definitely need a car, but understand that car don't be a wealth, because as soon as you drive it off the lot, it lose value. So they don't mind you buying any car you want. You want a Corvette, you want a Mercedes, they'll sell it to you. They'll sell it to you. Where the problem come in, if you trying to get this land, you trying to get home ownership, you trying to buy one home and buy another home, you trying to somehow build wealth. What you come to find out, the game start to change if they see you moving this way. You see, L. Will is very right about this. So don't feel so good because you see a black person driving a Corvette a charger, seeing a lot of chargers out there. That ain't wealth. That's being a consumer. At the end of slavery, they are already made in their mind, as long as we can keep these people here as consumers, that works with us. So purchasing a car, you working as a consumer. You didn't manufacture and produce that car. Dodge did. That Corvette, Chevrolet did. It ain't got our name stamped on it nowhere but the bill. Plain and simple. Stop looking at cars and think cars mean wealth. We got to increase our mental level when it comes to real money. No bootstrapping by slaving slaves, owning families. Exactly. That's that's the truth. We got to start seeing these white men and white women as what they are. They are the direct beneficiaries of slave owners. And if you can start to see them for that when they do or say some of this junk they say, it will make perfect sense to you. What throws you in a hoop when they say it is because somehow you done made them out to be something different when it ain't. Yep, the cycle continues. The more things change, the more they stay the same. And I would go further than that, Brian, and say the only reason they stay the same because we think ultimately doing no work, just the time ticking, is gonna change it. A lot of us are sitting on the sideline thinking if the clock just keep ticking, that eventually the change will happen. It's not gonna happen. See, you got to be the boots on the ground forcing the change to happen. Plain and simple. You got to be the boots on the ground forcing the change to happen. Because either you with me in the fight or you against me in the fight or you damn trying to drag me down from fighting in the fight. You doing one or the other. You doing one or the other. And know that the normal cycle of life is this. Either you going into a storm, you're in a storm, or you just came out of one. Them your three cycles. You're in a battle, you're going into a battle, you're in a battle, or you just came out of a battle. That's life. The three stages of it. Like it or not. So whether you choose to run or fight, you still gonna experience this hinder. Because we are the group that they have picked to be the bottom caste. Why? Because they know what they have done to us. Period. They know what they have done to us. We go on down in this article. And go back up a little bit. What you see right here, this reporter took $100,000 loan out from his father to start Facebook. These people are giving these people hundreds of thousands of dollars. How many of us really got somebody that we can even go to and get $1,000 and not pay it back? How many of us got somebody we can just go through and get 20 without paying it back? This is why we need to be able to see truth, man. We talk about entrepreneurs. We talking about trying to patent something somebody else did. We're going to do it the same way they did it without understanding where the money came from. They told you he started in the garage of his mama's house. How many of us, mama don't even got a house? Yet they don't tell you about this 100,000, probably another 200,000 from other family members. Bill Gates, all of them. Jeff Bezos here, he got something right here where let me share this with you. Cause there's a lot going on, but once you can see the picture clear, hey, it all becomes clear. That you understand that it ain't as you thought it won't. So if you look at this here, this is talking about how Jeff right here, Jeff pretty much what he done right here. Jeff Bezos got his parents to invest nearly $250,000 in Amazon in 1995. They might be worth 30 billion today. See, his parents. See, this is how money really grows in the stock. When you talk about Wall Street, see, blacks are talking about, I'm gonna put 500 in there. I'm gonna put $40 in there, man. They said if I put 1,000, it'll turn into 2,000. Look what these people invested. $250,000. How many of you out there, ADOS, American descendant of slavery, got $250,000 to invest in Amazon? And look at this year, 1995. How many in 1995 had $250,000 to invest? But if you listen to Jeff talks about it like he got it off the grind, like he got it out the dirt. He didn't get it out the dirt. ADOS is the only one trying to get it out the dirt because ADOS don't want to do politics. ADOS don't want to see Jeff as a direct beneficiary of slave owners. They want to see Jeff as something new. He ain't nothing new. He ain't nothing new. See, he ain't nothing new. Like Boy says, if you buy one share of Nike, you can be a millionaire in 20 or 30 years. See, we believing in things that are not true. That are not true. These people own thousands of stock. Thousands. You listen to people that's telling you you can have one stock. One share. Look right here. Do they say one share? They invested $250,000. Stop playing. We gotta get serious. This thinking that you can do things that other people. Listen, understand this. La fantasy lies. These rich folks tell. That's what they do, Brian. They sell you an illusion of a lie and you buy into it because they got money. And you think it because William over here talking, William ain't got no money. What can William tell me? He broke. What can William possibly know? I know this. In 1995, I can tell you, it was a lot of ADOS that didn't have no $250,000 to invest in their child. Just like right now, in 2021, it's probably 1% of ADOS that got $250,000 that they can invest in their child. You better wake up. This ain't a game. This is real life. And that $250,000 was real. And if you can't do that for your child or can't nobody do it for you, stop thinking you're going to be able to do what this man did. Stop lying to yourself. He couldn't even do it. You see how he did it. So how you going to rub two pennies together and come up with $250,000? You ain't going to do it. See, that's why reparations become so severe. That's why the conversation around reparation is so in demand, that it's our lifeline. We got to have reparations. We got to have a black agenda. And what we must do is our people must stand up and fight with us. You must fight for your group. You must hold these people accountable when they try to lock you out. We're going to go to a break and come back. Like I said, you can look these articles up. You can read through them when you get the time. But just know, none of these people have done what they told you they done. They just come from the slave owners, man. They all just come from the beneficiaries of the slave owners. So the money is still ours and it's still in their pockets. And because we ain't unified as a front line for our people, we losing. But not no more. Breaking the mental chains is here to unify us. as a front, as gate up. We're going to get what we are owed, period. So we will be back after the break. All right. All right, we back. We back. Um, one thing I wanna remind a lot of us of about this money thing is that you can't ever cancel out slavery. You can't ever cancel out Jim Crow, convict leasing, the stealing of the money from the Freeman Bank. All of these tragedies through history was tied to financial stability that we was locked out of. If you forget about them, you start to see these people as something not connected to a past. And you can't do that. Inheritance is a connection to a past. That's how it works. See, we got to stop looking at thinking of our lives and think about how their lives are so much different than ours. When you think about this $250,000, see, these people didn't own no major tech company. When this guy Jeff Bezos came, they ain't own no tech company. See, they had that money just sitting in the bank. How do you think that money, that large amount of money got there? See, we have made this country and made white people the elite in this country off of enslaving us. And it's time for us to see that connection. See, it's like Leroy said one time, as well as we stand in the shoes of our ancestors, so do white people stand in the shoes of their ancestors. See, we got to be able to see this thing. And once you can see it, you can understand it. You can start to see the picture clear. See, nothing they do or say will shock you then. But if if you don't see that, that becomes the problem. So if you can understand that, you start to see how simple the picture is to paint. You start to really understand the picture ain't complicated at all. What has been complicated is to get you to understand that you ADOS. You are the American descendants of slaves. Even if you don't know who you are, they know who you are. And you will be treated accordingly to who you are. ADOS. So think about it like this. If you hold up, I'm trying to get something on my phone. Hold on 1 second. If you come along in an era and because in the household the parent has tried to not tell you about your history because they thought not telling you would make a different outcome for you. But it's like saying then, well, white supremacy don't exist. We shouldn't have no problem from it. You can't turn around and say white supremacy exists, but say you don't want your kids taught about how they being oppressed by white kids and white families. It makes no sense. See, because you got to teach your kids the truth. I can promise you they will be hindered by it. I promise you. I bet my life on it. No matter if you don't tell them or not. What would eventually happen is they would turn around and tell you. They would tell you what is happening. And then you would have to question, why you didn't tell me this, mother? Why you didn't tell me that, father? See? So we must start to see things for what they are. And that is why ADOS is here. That is why breaking the mental chain is here. We just want the truth. We want to be able to show you how to connect the dots to all of these people and show you slavery won't long ago, no matter what they trying to tell you. We must be able to speak truth to power. And the only way to do that is to know and understand who you are and who you're not. If you're running around here from one conversation to the next, transforming into something else like you're a lizard, you a problem. See, I'm done with trying to be a lizard. I'm ADOS. I'm going to own it everywhere I go. I'm going to stand on it everywhere I go. I'm going to represent it. I'm going to defend it everywhere I go. And you must do the same. Because the time is now. And it's very critical time. As L. Will said earlier, we got to carve out a space for ourselves. This pandemic has exposed a lot. I'm glad. I thank everybody that joined the call tonight. I would definitely like for you to subscribe and hit that thumbs up button. If you would like to donate, you can donate here. It helps me be able to pay for this thing and keep it going. The biggest thing, man, that I want you to take from this call tonight is stop being so quick to tear down your own group and so quick to be open arms towards the real snake. The real snake. Think about what I'm saying. If people come in here to wipe you and your kids out, is it really your group that's the biggest threat? Shouldn't we be pushing against these rappers that's constantly talking about killing one another? Shouldn't we bring an end to that? It's time to be the critical thinkers. It's time to stop allowing people to push us to the side. Tell us we don't have a right to speak for our group, for our situation. So And it's time to start running, thinking this entrepreneur that this entrepreneur thing is somehow going to save us. It's not. It never did. It didn't work. We must get engaged in politics, like it or not. And our politics must align with the betterment of our people, not other people. If you ADOS and you out here doing all this work for other people to be made whole, I want you to sit down and question, how do that benefit your child, your daughter, your son, your husband, your wife, your cousin, your niece? How does that benefit them if they ain't them? If you are fighting for more progressive immigrant laws that only takes away jobs from ADOS people, how do you then turn around and say, I'm fighting for black people? You can't be. You are actually part of the Trojan horse sent here to destroy and wipe out the very people that you're saying you're fighting for. And you can't do that. I hate to bring the light to your attention. You can't fight for both of these groups. You're going to have to fight for your group, because one group undermines the other. When the ADOS group is the only group, when ADOS is the only group over that, it's chess, not checkers. And we are in checkmate. And as always, either you're going to come up with an idea to get out of this checkmate, or they're going to win the game. As always, become a chess player, not a chess piece. And another thing, stop waving that Juneteenth, that red, green, and black flag. That is not our flag, man. We're American, man. Fight to fix this relationship. Stop trying to run from it. Please. You're ADOS. Own it. I'm out of here, fam. Love y'all. Stay strong, stay focused. Keep the damn line moving forward. Hey, watch the closing of the show if you want to know how you can join and help in the fight.